So look, if I needed to get $3,000 to $5,000 in my bank account ASAP, this is exactly what I would do. And the reason this stuff works is because I'm personally using the same strategy to make upwards of $1,000 a day with just my laptop and a Wi-Fi connection. Now, since it's probably the first time you and I meet, why should you listen to me? My name is Fred and I'm an entrepreneur from a lower middle class background. I went from having only $400 to my name over 5 years ago to making upwards of $1,000 a day at 21, selling services and consulting online. Step number 1 is to sell a high-ticket service or coaching offer. The reason for this is simple. If you were to sell low-ticket products, you would need a lot of sales to get to $10,000 per month. Let's say you had a dropshipping business. You're not going to sell stuff for like $5,000. Most likely, you're reselling crappy AliExpress products for $50 at best. So let's say you were selling something for $50. In order to make $10,000 per month in revenue, not profit, you would need to get 250 new customers per month. Now, depending on your perception of things, it can look like a lot or like it's not much, but what this means is that every month you would need to convince 250 new people to trust you and to buy from you, when there's like dozens of other Shopify stores reselling the same crappy AliExpress product, and some of them are even less expensive than you. Now, in business, what matters is what you keep, not what you make. If you make $1 million, but you only keep $10,000, what's the point? Like, sure, you can flex, it can feed your ego, but you barely kept anything. So with a dropshipping business, if you made $10,000 in profit in 30 days, here's exactly how much you would keep. Typically, when you're doing e-commerce, profit margins are between 9 to 20%. So in profit, you would only keep between $900 up to $2,000, and that's before taxes. You will need to pay corporate tax, and in most countries, it's typically going to be about 25%, which means that after you've paid your corporate tax, you will be left with $675 all the way up to 1.5k. And if you want to use that money to buy things for yourself, to pay rent, to get a car, to travel, to do the things that you love, you will need to pay taxes again, because you will need to pay yourself with dividends, which will be taxed, or with a salary, which will be even more taxed. So when we do the math, you've made $10,000 in a month with dropshipping, but at the end of the month, you are more broke than somebody working at McDonald's. Do you realize the insanity of this business model? Not to mention, when you sell a physical product, you will have to deal with so many shipping and delivery issues. There's also returns and refunds, and it's horrible to deal with. Back in 2019-2020, with one of my friends, we tried a dropshipping business. At the time, my friend was going to buy an expensive 2.5k dropshipping course, and so we decided to work on it together. So we found a winning product, a flat squeeze mop, we built a Shopify store around it, and then I created some Facebook ads, and so I clicked on the button to set the ad live, and then I went to the living room to have dinner with my parents. And 30 minutes later, when I came back to my room, I noticed on my phone dozens of WhatsApp notifications from my friend. He was going crazy. He was telling me, look, somebody's buying the product, somebody's checking out, somebody bought the product. And at first, I didn't even believe him. I thought, yeah, right, are you joking? It's only been 30 minutes. But it turns out we actually made a sale. I went onto Shopify and I could see it on the dashboard. We made $50 selling a flat squeeze mop. Now, if I'm honest with you, I always knew that dropshipping was not a good business model for all the reasons we just spoke about. And so what ended up happening is that Facebook ads quickly ate up all of our ad budget. So sure, we made $50, but we spent close to $200 on ads alone. So that didn't even include the cost of the physical product or the shipping or the softwares we had to use. So we quickly had to stop that business, which is why instead of going for these bullshit business models where profit margins are extremely small and anybody can just literally replicate everything you do and steal your entire business model overnight because you're all selling the same crappy AliExpress products, you need to sell services or consulting. With a consulting business, you could charge anywhere from $500 up to $5,000 and even more per customer. Now, of course, it depends on what you sell and who you sell it to. And that's with 80 to 98% profit margins, meaning out of the $10,000 you made, you would keep between $8,000 to $9,998. Whereas remember, with dropshipping, you would only keep $900 up to $2,000 at the maximum. And when you charge a high ticket price, you only need a few customers to be able to quit your job and be financially free. What seems more realistic and more attainable for you? Convincing 10 people to pay you $500 or convincing 250 people every month to pay you $50? The answer is pretty obvious. Now, step number 2 is that you have to get started now. The sooner you get started, the sooner you get results. It's literally that simple. Sometimes I'll be talking to a prospect on a meeting and they're qualified. They know how I can help them. They're willing to invest, but they are paralyzed by fear. And looking over my data, because we track literally everything, the people who end up procrastinating and they keep pushing it down, they never actually get started, and so they never become financially free. Sometimes I have people who reach out to me 1 or 2 years later later and they tell me like nothing has changed. If anything, everything got worse, because in life you either move forward or you like move backwards. You can't really stagnate because things are always in motion. So if you don't move yourself, you don't evolve with the world, you will be left behind. There is no stagnation possible. You have to understand that nothing changes if nothing changes. There's literally no benefit to waiting. It's literally just an excuse that your brain uses to rationalize why you should stay in your comfort zone and not take action. But you have to be smarter than your brain and realize when it's trying to trick you. Now, if you'd like to discover in detail how I went from struggling financially, only having $400 to my name over 5 years ago, to making upwards of $1,000 a day, selling services and consulting online, I've recorded a free video in which I share with you everything I did step by step. That way, you can literally just copy me. Or if you're ready to start your own business so you can become financially free, you can directly book a free call with me or my team and we'll see if we can help you. Now, step number 3 is to sell it before you build it. The reason we want to sell your service or product before we even think about building it or what's going to be included is because we don't want to waste time building a product for months only to realize that nobody actually wants what you have to offer. I see plenty of people trying to follow in the steps of the big gurus, and so they try to create these Skool communities, and that works when you've got millions of followers and millions of views. But when you're just getting started, when you don't have much visibility, it doesn't work. It keeps you hopeless and broke. And so you can spend months building your Skool course or whatever, and then it turns out nobody's buying it. You just wasted 6 months of your life. And by selling your product or service before you build it, what it's going to do is to allow you to create a much better product, because on sales meetings with prospects, you'll be able to know exactly what they want because they will tell you. And so then you can give them exactly what they want, and that's how you make money. And not only that, but because you'll be able to build a better product, your customers will get better results. So they will speak about you positively to other people. They will recommend you to their friends and family. At the end of the day, you need to understand that in business, what you want, your passion, none of that matters to the customer. The only thing the customer cares about is that you can help them to bridge the gap between where they are now and where they want to be, because there's typically a lot of pain that comes from not having what they want. Step number 4 is to sell your product or service on a meeting, not on a sales page. Like I said, I see plenty of people trying to copy the big gurus and they try to sell these Skool communities on a sales page. And the problem is they stay broke because it doesn't work when you don't have millions of followers. When you're a beginner and you get a small amount of visibility, you can't use the same strategy that the famous people are using. It makes no sense. You're not playing on the same level. Doing that is like trying to play a song that only pro guitarists can play, instead of just taking it one step at a time and at first playing beginner songs. It doesn't mean you'll never be able to play pro songs, but to be able to get to that level, you need to start at the first level, which is the beginner level. And so because you have limited visibility, we need to optimize that limited visibility to find a way to convert as much of it as possible into paying customers. And the reason why we want to sell our service or product on a 30 to 45 minute meeting is because the conversion rate is much higher when you sell something on a meeting compared to a sales page. So to give you the actual numbers, typically on a sales page, you will convert 0.5% of visitors into actual paying customers, which means you need a lot of visibility to make $10,000 per month. Whereas on a sales meeting, if you follow a proven framework, you can typically close between 15% to 30% of the people who you speak to, the average being around 20%. So think about this. If you have a limited amount of visibility, wouldn't it make more sense to use the sales mechanism that allows you to convert 20% of people as opposed to 0.5% of people? Because 0.5% of a very small number equals no money, and that's why you're still broke. Now, once you're able to get customers, you have a proven offer, it's time to deliver the outcome that you promised, which is why step number 5 is service delivery. Now, when you have a consulting business, you can deliver the outcome for your clients in 3 different ways. The first is to provide a service that you have the skills and the experience to deliver yourself. Let's say you're very good with paid advertising or video editing, you could provide that as a service for your customers, and typically you're going to be paid on a monthly basis because it's an ongoing service. Now, the other way to deliver results for your customers is to consult people on how to fix a problem. So to give you an example, if in the past you were overweight and now you're jacked, you could help people to get fit. If you used to struggle with a drinking addiction, you could help people to overcome that drinking addiction. And because it's not something that you can't do for others, you have to teach them how to do it, which is why we call this consulting. Because you can't lose the weight for someone, you can't get rid of an addiction for someone. They have to do it themselves, but your job is to show them how to do it by giving them a proven step-by-step process and by mentoring them, making sure they stay accountable. Now you may wonder, what if I have no skills, no experience, and nothing to teach at the moment? What should I do? You can sell any service, even if you don't have the skills to deliver that service yourself. And the way you do that is by leveraging remote contractors. I know some people in the industry, they make multiple 7 figures a year, and they're not the ones delivering the services themselves. They literally hire remote contractors who do that for them. Some people think, oh, it's not a legitimate business model, but if they paused for a moment and thought for a second, they would realize that's what CEOs all over the world do. They hire employees to do the work for them. And if you take a look at the billion-dollar companies of the century, there are things like Amazon, Airbnb, Booking.com, Uber, except what do they all have in common? They're simply a platform connecting buyers and consumers. They act as the middleman and they keep a part of the profits. When you sell services and you use contractors, your job is to get customers, close deals, and then deliver the work to a contractor who does the work for the customers. It's the same business model Amazon, Uber, Airbnb, and Booking.com are utilizing to make billions, even trillions of dollars. So look, you need to make a choice. You can keep watching YouTube videos on how to make money online, but doing that won't make you more money. Or if you're committed to starting your business and becoming financially free, finally getting the life that you deserve, you can check out the free resources in the description below or directly book a free call with me or my team and we'll see if we can help you. That being said, if you found this video helpful, share it with a friend, and together, let's blow up this YouTube channel to empower ambitious individuals across the globe to become financially free.